Hey guys, it's Ken, Jenko Outdoors. I want to welcome you to our channel. If you have not subscribed yet, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and share our videos please. And hit the notification bell so you can see when we put new videos up. So today I'm going to be showing you how to assemble an AR-15. I'm going to be doing custom modifications for this. I had this for a while. And it's been, like I told you before, it's been sitting on the back burner. So today we're going to put it together. So let's get on it. All right, so I got my stuff laid out here. I got my upper. Well, it's not complete upper. It's just the barrel and the upper receiver. Got my lower receiver. We're not going to be doing a whole lot with this aside of putting a new stock on. We've got our gas block, our gas tube, and a couple of other things. So I'm going to be installing a new handguard on this. As I told you before, here, let me bridge up here. I hate talking to the daggum empty camera here. All right, so like I told you before, I had this this AR, and I built a 300 Blackout a couple years ago. I'll show you a picture of that. Unfortunately, we didn't get any video of that because I was not doing YouTube at the time. But I took some parts off of my AR-15. One of the things was my bolt carrier group. So I used it in the 300 Blackout because it uses the same brass as a AR-15 does. Or as a 223 or 5.56, which is what this is calibered for. And I put this up, for a while. We had done some work on this. This was set up exactly like the original AR-15. It had a front sight post, which is the gas block as well. And it had the plastic hand guards on it, which if you like traditional, great. I'm not a big fan of the plastic guards because they make a lot of racket, for one. You have no interchangeable about it. Nothing you can do customizing for it, i.e. adding Picatinny rails or anything like that. So I was going to try and take it off, but I was going to try and salvage the ring that holds them on. And unfortunately, it met an epic demise because I was having some trouble trying to get the spring off, and I used a screwdriver and a hammer, and it didn't turn out real well. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll put a picture, show you down here what happened after I did that. All right, so right here, this is where I was talking about. So you can see that I guard up this knurled nut here. And this is the ring that sets against this. This is just a slip ring that holds this on. But there's actually a ring here called a delta nut that you pull back and slide the hand guards in, and it's got a front clip on here. Well, that's the part that got destroyed. And I think I threw it away because it was destroyed. I was just trying to take it off, and unfortunately it didn't work out too well. So anyway, this thing has been sitting around on a shelf, just waiting for the right moment, and this is the right moment. So let's get started. So first thing I got to do is I got to get this off, and I got a vise here. So I'm gonna set my upper into this vise, lock it down here. Just sit in here. There we go. All right, get it locked in here. And let me get this spun around here so you can see what I've got going on here. All right, so I got it in the vise, and I'm going to use my tool. Now, if you're doing anything with AR-15s at all, and you want to do any armoring, you need to get one of these tools, because this tool right here it's got every single piece that you need to do an AR-15. So these little knurled here, they fit on top of this. So you slide it over, then you loosen it. And then this should screw off pretty easily. That wasn't too tight. I guess I had hand tightened it. All right, so nut screws off, and then it slides. Oops, don't bump you. Camera out of the way. Slides off the barrel. So there it is. All right. So now the next thing we need to do is install our gas block. But before we do that, I have to put it together. All right. So gas block. This is a low profile gas block because I've got a very low profile handguard I'm going to be putting on here. Let's get this opened up here. All right. So inside my bag, I've got a gas block. I've got a roll pin that's going to hold this in place. It's going to hold the gas tube in place, and then I've got set screws that are going to actually hold it on place onto the actual receiver. So let's look down here right quick. Let me go ahead and take this out of the vise so I can hold this up for you. So if you look right here, you'll see there's a little hole. Let's see if I can get this in the light here. There's a little hole right here that's where your gas comes out of your barrel. All right, and down underneath there's a little knurl here. This is where the pin that rode into here that held this front sight post on used to ride. So I'm not going to be utilizing that, but I need to seat this correctly on the barrel. So first thing I got to do, I got to take my flash hider off. This guy right here is flash hider. Just go ahead and take that off. Once again, the tool that I was telling you about, this Armorer's tool, has the tool for that as well. So let me spin you guys around this way. I'll show you every little piece part of this because, as I promised. All right, so if you notice there's little squares on here. Each one of these is designed to sit on a particular side of this. So let's see if I can get this in here. All right, so slide this around here, move bag. Gonna be a pill on me, ain't you? Well, I just want to take it out of the vise. This vise sits kind of low to the bench. All right, so we'll slide it on here, and then we're gonna give it a turn. And I was afraid that was gonna be the case. Oh, there it goes. All right, good. I was hoping that I did not put this on too tight either. So luckily that did not go on there really tight, because I'll show you when I take this off, there's a little piece on here. So it unthreads. And this little washer right here, you notice, see it's got a little recess in it. So what this does is it helps, when you tighten this up, it locks this onto the barrel so no gas can expand behind here, and it all expands out here. So it's called a flash hider because it's designed to, as the fire comes out, to expand this to hide the flame so snipers can't find you when you shoot it, allegedly. But, set that aside. We're going to be reusing that. And when you put this back together, make sure that you have the cupped part facing out and the rounded part facing toward the barrel. It's called a jam nut. All right, so let's go ahead and get my gas tube assembled here. Let me get you spun around here. All right, gas tube. All right, so let's see right here. Make sure you can see. All right, so here's my gas block. All right, so this is a low-profile gas block. So it's going to slide on the barrel. I'm going to slide it up to right here. Okay. Now, all right, let's get our hand guard out and take a look at it so you can see what I'm going to be putting on here, because this is a pretty nice little hand guard. I want to give O-Hunt a shout out. I got these parts off of a site called O-Hunt. They have some very good prices on AR parts. So if you're looking for anything from hand guards, gas blocks, scopes, anything like that, this company right here has it all, and very reasonable price. All right, so I got this from them as well. Let's open here. All right, came with the wrench and a slip nut, and here is the hand guard that I'm going to be putting on here. So very low profile hand guard. All right, and it's also got a nut. This is what's going to be threading in place of what this is. So just to give you an idea, so what happens here, this slides into the upper receiver. There's a little pin that lines this up and slides in there. I'm not going to take it out because there's no point in it today. But I need to get this out of here, so I'm going to use my tool here. What these little guys are shims. So these come with two little shims here. This is designed so that because this tube is going to have to slide through these little holes right here, so you can index it so that it's perfectly aligned depending on the threads. All right, so let's loosen the nuts up here and let's get our barrel nut out. All right, there's the barrel nut. And it's got some knurls on it to help it bite into here. I'm not a big fan of this particular style, but I looked around at some other different types, and you know, I just like the way this particular one set up. This is the M-LOK type handguard, and one thing that I really liked about it is already got built in for your quick disconnect for your sling. All right, so I'm going to slide this on the barrel. And when you do this, now I've already got anti-seize on this, so it's a good thing to have anti-seize on anything you're putting together on this, especially when you're having to turn something on, because if you do not have anti-seize, it's allowed to stick and then you're going to have big problems. All right, so we're going to thread it all the way up hand tight. And now I'm going to use my armorer's tool again. And I'm going to tighten that barrel nut up. Now, I'm going to tighten it up just enough to get this thing indexed. So I need to check the index and see to make sure it's aligned. It looks like it lined up just perfectly. I may have to bump it just a little bit more. And I'll show you in just a second what I'm looking at. There's a torque specification on these most of the time, but because of the, there it is, just bump it just a skosh there. There we go. All right, so what I'm looking at is right here. So you see where the knurl lines up? There's a little hole right here, and that's where the gas tube is going to go into here, and it engages into the bolt carrier group. All right, so now we can go ahead and get this thing, get the gas block in place. All right, so first thing I got to do on my gas block is I got to get this roll pin set back in here and lock this in there. All right, so if you look at the gas tube, you can see it's got a couple of ends on it. So I got an end here with nothing on it. This is what's going to go into the upper receiver or the bolt carrier group. Now I've got another end down here with a couple of holes in it. I've got a hole here and I've got a hole here. So this is what allows the gas to come through the gas tube. This actually is what allows your AR to cycle, is this gas tube. So it's a gas operated weapon. So as it fires, some gas comes out of the barrel here and pushes this, and it blows the bolt back and allows you to cycle. All right, so this slides into here. And we got to find the spot where this is going to engage. So we got to look and see. So if you look at the gas block there, you got to look and see where is this hole. So this big hole right here, this big hole right here. Let's see if we can get this to focus here. Right here this has got to align to the hole in the gas block. All right, so it has to be facing in the same direction. So You got to get this in place, and then the roll pin is going to go through the other hole. Alright, so let's get this in place here, get this lined up, get the roll pin set in there. Alright, so let me get this out of here, put this in the vise so that I can get this lined up properly. Alright. And what I like to use to get this lined up, right, is a little small punch. There that guy is. All right. So it lines this up. All right, so now I've got this lined up where I need it. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop the block down into the vise so that this gas tube sits flush with the top of the vise. Oops. Oh, you're trying to be a pill on me, ain't you? Turd. All right, now roll pin. All right, now this is, be careful with this when you're putting this in, because if you drop it, it will roll on the floor and you will lose it. So I'm going to find me a pair of pliers here to hold on to it whilst I get it lined up here. Line that up right there. Start getting it tapped in. Tapped it down nice and flush. Okay, so that's that. So now my gas block is secure. All right, now let's get our barrel back in place here. Finish the assembly of this part. Put all my tools up. Get these out of the way. I'm not going to be needing these anymore today. All right, got that out of the way. Okay, so now I'm going to slide my gas block on, and I'm going to feed this tube through the hole. And I've got this in place, so now I need to turn this over and do these set screws. So flip this over. And install my set screws. Make sure you put your set screws in correctly. Make sure you put the rounded end pointing down. It'll be a goober like that, and put them in backwards. Okay, that one started down there. Get this one started down here. Get my hex set here. This is probably going to be a very tiny one. Not that small. Try this right here. Nope, next one up. Yep. All right. So I'm just going to snug these down for right now. Make sure that this is not going to wobble, and then I'll put my handle on it. Now, you don't want to go nutso with these, and what I'm going to end up doing is taking these out individually, and I'm going to put some Loctite on these because I don't want these coming out. Because the last thing you want is for this thing to come undone. I can remember where I put my stinking Loctite in. Seen it. Is it in here? Yes, that is. Okay. So I'm going to be using the red Loctite. Some people prefer blue. I think the red holds just fine. All right, so I'm going to loosen one. I guess, like I said, I tightened one down to hold it in place. And I'm going to take my thread lock. And I'm going to put a drop on my screw. All right, got a little bit on there. I'm just going to rub that on here. Don't take a lot. You don't want it oozing out. And then wipe off the excess. Let's do the other one. Apparently my little nozzle on that one jammed up, so I'm going to do some clearing to get that clean. But I got enough on my tool here to put on there to get enough. I said it don't take much, just takes a little bit. Little goes a long ways. And that will make that secure so that it's easy to, so it's not easily loosened. There will be a lot of pressure there going in that spot. I said that's the gas tube. That's the part that, without that, your gun wouldn't cycle. All right, so. All right, so now let's put my hand guard on. All right, so the hand guard is going to slide over the barrel. Oops, I flip it over. Derp. Okay. All right, so we'll slide this over the top of the gas block and up onto the hand guard itself, which is being uphill to get it on there. Dirt. All right. Right up there we go. Right up on the knurls. All right. If it's nice and tight, Picatinny rails line up. Good to go. All right. So now let's tighten this down. And just like I did Loctite on the screws for that, I'm going to put Loctite on these as well, because I do not want these to come loose. Like I said, this is a spot where you have a lot of, this has a lot of pressure, or not a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of recoil that's going to be absorbed. Even though this is a free-floating handguard, I think it looks pretty nice. Nice and tight. Take that guy out. A little on the screw here, get it in the threads. Oh shoot. That's one of the things I don't like about these particular types. I prefer a threaded handguard. That's what I have on my 300 Blackout. Main reason is the thread does not come loose. Whereas these could come loose over time, and because of where they're at, you could easily lose it in the field and without even knowing it. And I've seen this happen to some friends of mine. That's why I even bring it up. All right, tighten those down finger tight. Now I'm going to give them a half a turn, one at a time. Half a turn, half a turn. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the front. I'm going to do another half turn. And why am I doing this? So I'm doing this so that it will tighten up evenly across here, so you're not torquing it down and making, this is aluminum, so aluminum does have a propensity to buckle in one direction or another if you try and put too much on it. All right, so half a turn, and half a turn. Or tight. That one's already tight. All right. Back to the front. And go ahead and tighten them the rest of the way down. So that one's tight. And that one's tight. All right. So there that part is. That looks nice. I like the way that looks. This is going to be real low profile. You know, some people like big fat hand guards. I like little thin ones. Makes it feel like more like a rifle that I'm, you know, more familiar with. It's even thinner than the actual ones that come, the original plastic ones. All right, so let's set this back in my vise here. Now we're going to add our flash suppressor back on. Now, just like I did before, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little bit of red Loctite on here because I don't want this thing coming loose. And that's the way it comes from the factory anyway, is with red Loctite on it. All right, put the concave part facing towards the barrel and thread your flash hider on. Oh, realize I'm not in frame here. There we go. Thread. Back in place. All right, so now take my same tool, okay. Nice and snug. All right. Thing's good to go. All right, so there's the upper part complete. Well, almost complete. So the last thing we need to do is put the bolt carrier group in here, but I'm going to go ahead and put this Loctite up because I won't be using it anymore for the remainder of this build. Go ahead and store it away. Rag and clean this guy off. Put it back in its bag. All right, I didn't need these shims, but I'm going to hold on to them. Spin you back around here. I didn't need these shims right here, but I'm going to hold on to them because you never know when you might need shims for another project. So I'm going to set all this stuff aside, everything that I've taken loose. I'm going to set it off over here to the side. I done used up that box, done used up this box. Toss them down there. Oh, here's the hand guards I was talking about right here. By the way, these are the old, this was an M4, so had these little short hand guards on them. Let's see, if I had that little piece I was talking about. No, I truly did throw it away. Okay. All right, so next thing is a bolt carrier group, right? So this gun originally I purchased from Palmetto State Armory. And it's got a little PSA symbol right here, Palmetto State Armory. They are a gun builder. They're in Columbia, South Carolina, and they make some great products. I was very pleased with it, had no issues with it at all. And some people say, well, then why are you doing anything with it? Well, I'm doing something with it because AR-15s, I used to own a Jeep. And here. I used to own a Jeep. And I miss my Jeep from time to time, but that's a story for another day. But at any rate, the Jeep Wrangler is nice because there are a ton of accessories and upgrades and things you can do to it. Same thing with an AR-15. There are so many pieces on this. I call it the Jeep of guns because you can do anything with it. I can use the same lower and I can put a different size barrel on it you know, as long as it fits in the AR-15 platform. And you can just interchange the barrels. You know, that's one of the things that's nice about it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. All right, so first thing, I got to put my front pin in. All right, got my front pin in, so now it's going to have a pivot. All right, I want to leave it just like that. So let me get you back down here on the bench. And this is my gun bench slash reloading bench. I do some reloading too, so if you guys are interested in seeing some reloading, you know, I'll be putting some of those videos up here in the near future as I begin to start getting back into my reloading. Right now I'm reloading strictly 300 blackout, but I'll show you the process because it's basically the same. Actually, it is exactly the same. It's just a matter of caliber, utilizing the die that goes with your particular caliber. Now, why I'm only reloading 300 blackouts, because that's the gun I'm going to be utilizing the most of the time that is hard to find ammo for. I can find 223 any day of the week and twice on Sunday. 300 blackout, however, in fact, any ammo right now. And so I'm soon going to be reloading 9mm and 45 and things like that, because if you noticed, if you've been to the gun store, you ain't finding any ammo. Okay, bolt carrier group. So this bolt carrier group came from Palmetto State Armory as well. This is a heavy duty bolt carrier group. And what makes it heavy duty, why they say it's heavy duty, is because it's designed for a machine gun. So it's a little bit more beefy than the standard one that came with. Alright, so I had to step away for a little bit, but I found had to go out and get me something to eat. So that's why my shirt changed. But anyway, this is what we're going to use to lubricate the bolt with. So this is it says LP, but they're missing the C. This is what we used in the Marines. CLP, cleaning, lubrication, and protection. You can actually clean with this. That's what we used it for cleaning. You just put this on there, scrub away with the little brush, you know, get it done. But we're going to use this for the lubrication because this thing is crazy dry. Now, you don't want to use a whole lot. You don't want your gun dripping with oil, but we do want to have enough on here that actually gives it where it slides nice and clean. So I'm going to put some drips on here. I'm just going to rub it with my finger. Get this on here. You're going to your hands are going to get a little bit messy, but that's okay. And because this is so new, and I don't know, I want to get some lubrication down here on the lug. So let me show you how to take this guy apart. All right, so right here you've got a little pin. I like to use a pair of pliers here to pull this out. So there's a little pin here. This holds the firing pin. It says firing pin, retaining pin. That's what that's called. Set that aside. And then you knock your firing pin out the back. There's your firing pin. Right, and then you've got a locking lug here. So you pull this forward, you turn this locking lug. Turn this locking lug and this thing slides out. This locking lug is what locks the bolt into the bolt carrier. Right there. So your firing pin runs through here, so that's why you can't take this out until you take the firing pin out. And then here's your bolt. All right, and your bolt consists of your gas rings. That's what these guys back here are. They're gas rings. You've got your extractor, and you can actually take this all the way down to the extractor by knocking out this little pin right here. All right, so little AR disassembly 101 here. Just going through these. So I had enough on my fingers. I'm just going to give it a nice little lube up here, and then I'm going to put it back together again. All right, so you want to put it together with there's a hole on both sides. So it only goes back in here one way. I'm going to line this up so that my locking lug well, it goes in there both ways. There's a hole on both sides. I said one way. All right, line your locking lugs up. Drop that down in there. and rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, extend your bolt out when you do that. We're going to take our firing pin. We're going to drop it in the back side back here. Just drop it in here. Like that, and then push it down with your finger. And then we take our firing pin retaining pin. We'll go put it back in the little hole right there. Push it in. And there we go. Now it's back up and running. Now, this is after you shoot this a little bit, this thing should pop out. When you pull it down like this, it should pop out. So this one's still a little bit, it's new, it's brand new. Literally, it hadn't even been shot a single time. So get you a good lubrication on there. All right, charging handle. All right, and I got me, this is a different one that comes standard with the AR. This is an ambidextrous charging handle, which means that I can pull this from either left or right and disengage it. All right. So I got this because I just always wanted an ambidextrous thing. All right, so let me show you how this goes in here. All right, on the bottom of the upper receiver, there's a little slot for your charging handle to go into. Right there, okay? And then your bolt is going to fit, the gas tube is going to fit inside that spot there, and it's going to slide in. There's a little rail right there. Your gas tube's going to fit into that thing, and it's going to line in there. And I've never done this upside down, so I have your bolt extended. That's one of the, I thought it had been extended. So the bolt has to be extended because it will not let the bolt engage into your receiver unless this pin is pointed toward the top. All right, lock it in there. And there you go. All right, now we're going to put this back together again. Pulled my pin out, locked this back down in here, and now I've got the main parts of this complete. Okay, so last thing we got to do is let me put my CLP up before I spill it. All right, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the butt guard. All right, so a standard AR came with a fixed butt guard on it, or a butt plate. I don't like the fixed butt plates. I like to have the expandable one, mainly because I can put this in a smaller case, and when this collapses, but I can extend it out. All right, the standard one that comes in this particular expanded one looks like this. All right, I had this one on there. I'm going to change it to something else because I want to do something a little bit different. All right, so what I'm going with is this one right here. I got this one on Amazon. It's much more beefy. It's got a lot more solid feel to it, and I can turn these little nuts here, and I can extend the cheek guard on it up and down to give me a better cheek weld on this. And also it comes with built-in for the quick disconnect lugs. All right, so how do we put this on there? All right, this is a standard mil-spec tube on it. So that's key to understanding to having this. They come in two different ways. They've got one that's an aftermarket tube that's a little bit smaller than this, and these won't fit. Well, they'll go on there, but they'll be all floppity-joppity. Now this one, I got this one on Amazon, and one of the reviews I saw on it complained about that it wouldn't engage and stay engaged. So I'm going to put this on here. You got to push this down, and you got to pull this out to engage, pull this whole thing out to engage this. So I'm going to stand this up and do this because it's a little bit easier to have the pressure of the gun on it. So we're going to pull this out. Come on. Why are you being a pill for me here? There it goes. All right, a little tight for the beginning. All right, so there's collapsed. Push it in, expand it out to the length you need it to be. And the complaint they had on Amazon was that this thing will pull completely off. Well, that is a problem, and I'm going to do a modification to it to fix it. I looked at it to see what it was. It's just something that the company did not take real good care of to make sure that the pin, that you truly had to pull this down, because the old ones, in order to get the buttstock off, you had to pull this completely down to pull the disconnecting pin that engages in these little holes right here. But there it is. Got it all complete. Now, I've got another thing coming in, and when it comes in, I'm going to do another video on this. It's a thing called gun skin. I'm going to put, it's a thing that goes on the whole entire gun to give it a, instead of painting it, it's like a vinyl type covering that goes on all this, and it's pretty nice looking. All right, now as far as the only last thing I have to do is to get it ready to shoot is to put some kind of a sighting device in there. Well, I'm going to be using an optic, and I want to do a review on this guy as well. I got this one off of Amazon. This is a $35 optic, but on Amazon it had about 1,100 reviews, and it had 4.8 stars. So I'm going to do a review on this between this one, a $34 scope, and a $200 scope, to see, is there really a difference? Do I need to spend a whole bunch of money on a high-priced scope, or can I get by with one of these? All right, so until next time, I want to thank you for joining, and if you have not subscribed, let me go ahead and pull you up here. Let me close you up here. There we go. All right, so if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can see when we put new videos up. And also share our videos so other people can see what we're doing on our channel. And also give us a thumbs up if you like this video. And remember, this is God's country. See you next time.